Good evening, everyone. This is the Township of Piscataway Council meeting agenda for January 25th, 2022. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 PL 1975, specifying the time, date, location, login, or dial-in information, and to the extent known, the agenda by posting a copy of the notice on the municipal building, the municipal court, and the 2 municipal library bulletin boards. Municipal website, providing a by filing a copy in the office of the township clerk in accordance with the certification by the clerk, which will be entered in the minutes. The township continues to use a remote meeting format in an effort to mitigate the chance of exposure to COVID-19 as a part of the township's ongoing effort to slow the rate of transmission and avoid overwhelming our treatment centers. In order to make sure a clear record of the meeting can be made and that all parties are heard in an organized fashion, all members of the public will be muted during the meeting. If a member of the public wishes to speak during any public comment portion, please raise your hand. This can be done either through the Zoom app or by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn, you will receive a prompt or a request to unmute. Please click on the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute. Upon being unmuted, you should begin to answer in all questions you may have. You will have 3 minutes to speak, at the conclusion of which you will be muted again, and the council or administration will respond as necessary. Should you have any further comments or questions, the Township Council is always available by email and phone, and you could always call the mayor's office during normal operating hours. Each member of the public shall have only one opportunity to speak during each public portion, as the technology does not allow us to know if there are multiple callers on an individual phone or line or logged in user account. We ask that if you wish to speak, that you log in or dial in separately so that we can recognize you as a separate individual. Individuals may also submit written comments to the township clerk up to 48 hours prior to the meeting, to be read by the township clerk during the public comment portion of the meeting. Said comments shall be limited to 3 minutes of reading. Thank you in advance for your patience as we continue to move the township forward during this health emergency. So I'm now calling this meeting to order again. Mrs. Cedar, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Bullard. Councilman Bullard, you need to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. You're
Yes.
here, correct?
Yes, here.
Councilwoman Cahill.
Here.
Councilman Khan.
Here.
Councilman Rouse. Councilman Shaw. Councilman Irwin.
Here.
Council President Lombardi.
Here. Would everyone please join me for the flag salute?
Of the United States of America,
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now moving to number 5. Do we have any comments from administration and council regarding any adjournment of any matters on this agenda? Seeing none, I'll now move to number 6, which will be open to the public. And these are comments for the consent agenda items only. Please remember, again, these are comments regarding the consent agenda items. If you wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand either on Zoom app or if by phone by pressing *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt or press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you will have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. And please remember that these are comments regarding the consent agenda items only at this time.
Council President, I just want to acknowledge that Councilman Shaw has arrived in the meeting. Councilman Shaw, can you just acknowledge that you're here, please?
Yes, I'm in.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone wishing to comment on the consent agenda items, please press *9 at this time.
Council President, I'm asking the first individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves. Kartik, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This is just regarding one question that I have.
Excuse me, one sec, just state your name.
Patel, 29 Redbud Road.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yep, it's good to be here looking at Zoom in 2022. That's progress. Okay, so just a quick comment regarding a PR position that was opened up recently by the township. And the question is this particular position funded by taxpayer? And the second thing is, in case even if the council feels that this position is needed, I personally
Pratik?
Yes.
1 minute. Can you hold that for the next public portion? We're on the consent agenda items, public portion only at this time, okay? Can you hold that to the next public portion, please?
That is part of consent agenda item. There was a position for PR, unless I'm missing something. Let me open up because it's hard for, let me just, this was on item number.
Can you give us the letter?
Yeah, number 9 and L.
Okay, thank you.
So when we are kind of talking from an advisory standpoint, are this position kind of paid or funded by PAC? That's the first question. And the second question is, I personally feel that in a small township like this, usually what PR position would do is it is going to basically reduce the authentic voice of people. So in a sense that I think it just gives rise to a lot of spin stories and all this kind of stuff. We are not negotiating any treaty with international countries or in some complex structure, or this is not some science experiment that we need to explain it to public. So when we are creating positions in the township, I personally feel that we have to evaluate positions that really are important to public when it comes to building something and whatnot, and not bloat the administration and saddle that money on taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratik. And again, this was an appointment to the Public Relations Advisory Commission, which is one of our commissions in town. These are not paid positions. These are positions that are given to various people around the community. And it's for the Public Relations Advisory Commission, and it is not a paid position. And if anybody would like to piggyback on that, please feel free.
Correct, Council President. This is Raj, Committee Township Attorney. Yeah, it's a voluntary position. That's a committee that's advisory only. They don't take any action, and they don't actually take any action for the township. They just make recommendations to the township administration.
Thank you for that clarification.
Council President, I just want to acknowledge that Councilman Rouse has arrived to the meeting. Councilman Rouse, if you could just.
Here.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that would like to comment on the consent agenda items at this time? Please press *9.
Council President, there are no other individuals with their hands raised.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. I will now close the public portion and move on to number 7, which is an ordinance under first reading, amending Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 20, Stop Intersections, and it's a resolution adopting ordinance. Mrs. Cedar, can you please read the ordinance?
Be it resolved by the Township Council of Piscataway Township, New Jersey, that an ordinance entitled Ordinance to Amend and Supplement the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Piscataway, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 20, Stop Intersections in the Township of Piscataway, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, be and is hereby adopted on the first reading, that it be published in the official newspaper, and that a second reading and public hearing be held at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time at the Piscataway Municipal Building, 455 Hose Lane, Piscataway, New Jersey, as well as by remote meeting format on the 15th day of February 2022. Be it further resolved that a copy of this ordinance shall be posted in at least 2 public places within the township prior to the day of the second reading and final passage, and a copy of this ordinance shall be made available at the office of the township clerk for any interested member of the public.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. Can I have an offer, please?
Offer.
May I have a second?
Councilman Khan, I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Cedar, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Bullard? Councilman Bullard, I just need your vote with regard to this agenda item.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cahill?
Yes.
Councilman Khan?
Yes.
Councilman Rouse?
Yes.
Councilman Shaw?
Yes.
Councilman Urban?
Yes.
Council President Lombardi?
Yes, and the ordinance passes the first reading. We'll now move to number 8, which is an ordinance first reading, acquisition of rights of way, easements, and land in fee simple for the improvement of Centennial Avenue. It's a resolution adopting ordinance. Ms. Cedar, can you please read the ordinance?
Be it resolved by the Township Council of Piscataway Township, New Jersey, that an ordinance entitled Ordinance for the Acquisition of Rights of Way, Easements, and Land in Fee Simple for the Improvement of Centennial Avenue in Piscataway Township, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, be and is hereby adopted on the first reading, that it be published in the official newspaper, and that a second reading and public hearing be held at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time at the Piscataway Municipal Building, 455 Hose Lane, Piscataway, New Jersey, as well as by remote meeting format on the 15th day of February 2022. Be it further resolved that a copy of this ordinance shall be posted prior to the day of the second reading and final passage, and a copy of this ordinance shall be made available at the office of the township clerk for any interested member of the public.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. Do I have an offer?
Offer Kapil Shah.
A second?
I'll second, Councilman Khan.
Thank you. Could you please take the roll, Mrs. Cedar?
Councilman Bullard?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cahill?
Yes.
Councilman Khan?
Yes.
Councilman Rouse?
Yes.
Councilman Shaw?
Yes.
Councilman Urban?
Yes.
Council President Lombardi?
Yes, and the ordinance passes first reading. We'll now move to number 9, which are the consent agenda items. For efficiency, items have been consolidated into consent agenda to be voted on together. The materials for these items have been distributed to the council in advance of the meeting. At this time, are there any items that the council would like removed from the consent agenda to be discussed or voted on separately? Seeing none, may I have an offer to accept the consent agenda?
Offer, Councilman Aaron.
May I have a second?
Second, Councilwoman Cahill.
Thank you. Mrs. Cedar, can you take the roll?
Councilman Bullard?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cahill?
Yes.
Councilman Khan?
Yes.
Councilman Rouse?
Yes.
Councilman Shaw?
Yes.
Councilman Urban?
Yes.
Council President Lombardi?
Yes, and the consent agenda items pass. We'll now move to number 10, which is announcements and comments from officials. Do we have any comments from Councilman Jim Ballard?
No, I would just like to say that hopefully you and your families are doing well, because there's so much going on out there right now. I know you have to really protect yourselves and your family. So stay well.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gabrielle Cahill.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to remind folks that on February 3rd, the Y would be open again. I'm not sure how many times this will be for those folks wanting to get vaccinated. Also, then again, on March 3rd, you can go to the site itself to learn more. We have literature out there. There's a registration link for you to link to get your vaccination. I do believe that you'll be able to get the first or second shot and also the booster there. And then I do hope that the residents of Piscataway will join me in getting their animals free rabies shots. I will be there this Saturday, is A through K at the DPW lot. It is drive-through, so they are taking those extra protections to protect people. And I will be there with my 2 doggies. And then I believe the next one is on Saturday the 5th, and that would be L through Z. So again, A through K this Saturday, and then a week later, L through Z for free rabies. It's a great opportunity for folks to save some money and get out to meet some people too.
Thank you for all that very good township information, Mrs. Cahill. Councilman Khan, do we have any comments?
I don't have any comments or announcements. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Rouse.
No comments at this time.
Councilman Shah.
Yes, Gabriel grabbed my drive-through rabies clinic. Thank you. Second, in 5th February, we are starting for picnic reservation at YMCA. So I believe it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So anybody want to book for the summer park reservation? So 5th February is the first day. So call recreation, and 10 o'clock is YMCA. And secondly, Raj Groomer, happy birthday. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much. More information, that's great. Councilman Ern.
No comment at this time, Council President.
Mayor Brian Waller.
Thank you, Council President. I want to acknowledge that we did swear in a new sergeant this evening, Meredith Robbins, to that position, and then we look forward to working with her and her leadership patrol and staff of the whole PD. I also want to give out condolences to the Paul Rabone family, longtime Arbor Fire Company rescue firemen out of there, and some say that the monument looks like the Fireman's Memorial Monument looks like Paul Rabone. We'll never know that, but I want to give my condolences out to the Arbor Fire community and also the Rabone family. And on an extremely sad note, as we all know, the fact that we had 2 uniformed police officers shot and killed in New York City this week is just terrible news to the law enforcement community, not only just in New York City, but here nationally. And that just goes to show what on any given day in the law enforcement community, no matter what town or city you can be in, it is a hazardous duty to be involved in. And I want residents to be mindful of that, because sometimes when the officers knock on the door, you don't know what's behind that door because they don't have x-ray vision. So once again, on behalf of the Township Governing Body and the Piscataway Police Department, we extend our condolences out to the men and women of the New York City PD. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Business Administrator Tim Dacey.
I'd just like to welcome Kelly to the team. Last meeting we lost was the last meeting that we had Monica, so it was a little sad. But we've got a great new deputy clerk in Kelly, and we look forward to everybody working with her over the next few years.
Thank you. Township Attorney Raj Kumar, happy birthday.
Thank you for the wishes and no other comments. Thank you.
I also would like to welcome Kelly. Welcome. We look forward to working with you. And my heartfelt condolences, and I'm sure on behalf of all of the council, to the family that lost their daughter into the Newmarket Pond along with their 9-month-old baby. My heartfelt condolences along with the others. That was a horrible tragedy, and I have no words. So with that, we'll move on. Anyone else? Everybody have their comments? Move to number 11, which is the agenda session for the upcoming February 15th, 2022 meeting. We will be having at that meeting a proclamation for a 100th birthday for Franklin Leroy Gibson, which I so look forward to. We will have an ordinance second reading, amending Chapter 7, traffic section 20, stop intersections. It will be open to the public, and it will be a resolution adopting ordinance. Do we have any comments or questions regarding that ordinance that we just did on first reading this evening? Seeing none, we will also have the ordinance second reading for the acquisition of rights of way, easements, and land in fee simple for the improvement of Centennial Avenue, open to the public, resolution adopting ordinance. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, we'll move to number 12, which will be our open to the public portion. If you wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand either on Zoom app or if by phone by pressing *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will receive or hear a request to unmute yourself. Please click the prompt and press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. At that time, please state your name and address and know that you will have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. The council or administration will respond if necessary after you have completed any comments or questions. So at this time, if you'd like to speak during the public portion, please press *9.
Council President, I'm asking the first individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Please press *6 now. Go ahead.
This is David Akins.
Good evening,
Valley.
David.
How are you? Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening, David.
I pressed *6 during the consent agenda, and for some reason you didn't get it. I also wanted to make a comment for item number 8 under the comments from the administration, and you guys didn't get that. So what do you do in a case like that?
Well, you could ask now at this point, David.
Well,
it wasn't open to the, when were you referring to?
I was on the phone before you guys even got started. So I've been here since the time you started. But I'm going to cut to the chase. Maybe I'll back up into it. But since it's open to the public, and this is going to be really directed to everyone, but specifically to Jim Ballard. Jim Ballard, you are the 2nd Ward Council person. What's the update on this warehouse that operates 7 days a week, 24 hours, Saturday, Sunday, 1:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning? What's the update on that?
Tim, will you be able to help me here?
Councilwoman Lombardi, if I could just, Council President,
Yeah.
Mr.
Can we just have him make all his statements and then we'll answer the questions? So, Mr.
Right.
Akins, please make your statements, okay? And then we'll answer your questions, all right?
Okay, well, going back to the consent agenda, Item number F for Foxtrot. Item G for golf. Well, forget golf. Item F. Item 9I. Item J. This is under the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Are you done?
Item November, this still under the consent agenda. Item Quebec, item Tango, item 9, X-ray. And let me ask you this, before, if I'm correct, when a meeting is different, before you go to the following agenda, you always have 3 minutes then, and you have 3 minutes like we're having now, which is
Okay.
a total of
Okay, we always have a public portion for the consent agenda items. That's in the beginning, and then at the end is the public portion.
There used to be 2 public portions, if I'm not mistaken.
There's one for the consent agenda items, and then the other one is later on, number 12, at the end. So there's 2
but-
public portions.
But if I ask you a question for the consent agenda, if it's not on that consent agenda, what I'm speaking about, you're saying that I have to address strictly what's on the consent agenda. So I'm restricted. I can't. It's not basically say open to the public.
It is open to the public first. The first public portion is for the consent agenda items. That's for that only. The second public portion is for any question you may have.
Okay, you may continue.
Okay, thank you so much. And we'll try to start answering those questions now.
Madam President, can we get a little bit of information from David on what he's looking for? He gave us a whole bunch of resolutions, but I'm not sure what he's looking for in them.
Okay, the first one he had was F on the consent agenda.
Council President, he was also asking about, I believe, what's now the old Verizon building too.
If I may, Council President, this is Mayor Weil. Let me try to jump in. Item F, the emergency for road salt. We were in a cooperative with Somerset County for a 2-year contract, and all of a sudden Somerset County said, no, they're not taking on any towns or outside of Somerset County. So we had to get an emergency contract with another cooperative. As far as item N, I believe it was M, this just retainage of the special assessment projects where we have sidewalks throughout the town that companies have to pay for the sidewalks that are being installed. And then the emergency temporary appropriation, that is a normal process because, David, we're now into a new budget year that requires us every 6 weeks or so until we have an adopted budget so we can fund the government, so to speak. I think I missed one other one on the consent agenda that he was asking for. I'm not sure which one it was.
He asked for Q,
Two.
which is the joint insurance fund, safety incentive
Tim, you
program.
want to handle that one?
In India was for purchase of 6 police cars for the police department. Juliet was for the purchase of 3 extra duty trucks for the police department. Instead of using patrol cars, the chief is going to be using small SUVs that aren't fitted out with all the stuff that in the back seat that you arrest people with. So it's a lot cheaper for us to buy these and use it for extra duty. November was for the temporary budget. Quebec is,
Then I think he had T as in Tom.
Quebec was for the to ratify that we're going to be into the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund Safety Incentive Program. We work properly with them. There's certain requirements that we have to meet during the year, and if we meet them, we get a discount on our insurance. So we'll do that. Tango was for awarding the HVAC maintenance services for 2022, which is the same company as we had last year because we did it as for 2-year contract. So they had it last year and they're having it this year again. And finally, X-ray was for transferring budget appropriations from last year's budget into different line items.
Thank you for those clarifications.
Council President, I think he also had in the public portion the issue with the building near his home. Ms. Corcoran did reach out to him on numerous occasions and they did speak, and he was supposed to get back with specific times and everything. I will have Ms. Corcoran again call him for the 3rd or 4th time to get in touch with Mr. Akins about this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Council President, I'm now asking the next individual with their hand raised to unmute themselves.
Please press *6 and state your name and address.
Yeah, hi. Again, Pratik Patel, 29 Redbud Road.
Thank you.
2 comments. One is, I think you have a website where you have all the township ordinance that you put in. And I think over the course of last 2 to 3 months, somebody explained it to me what the ordinance were and so on and so forth. So the question is, if somebody has to change the language or request change in those ordinance, what is the process? And do this ordinance have expiration tied to that? And if so, is that clearly written? Because sometimes they just keep on rolling and rolling and the world changes and those don't apply. And some of them, they do apply, but it just don't make sense because they're just direct violation of some civil liberties and so on and so forth, or business contracts. So how do you go about making changes to that? And the second part of the question was, I think this meeting format was good, but I guess maybe you might want to talk with the guys at Optimum. If they have monopoly, this telecommunications service is not effective, because I think I saw some voice getting dragged and all this kind of stuff. So they have to look at their performance level agreements and so on and so forth, because it's not I don't think so. Somebody's looking into that with whatever service that township is getting or residents are getting. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratik. And we do vote various times to update ordinances. Very often, we update our ordinances. And they're done at our council meetings through voting. And if anybody else would like to tag on that for any further explanation, please do so.
Yeah, Council President, this is Raj, the Township Attorney. So there is no expiration date on these ordinances. The township codes are there until they're changed. However, in order to change an ordinance, if a resident is interested in requesting a change, they can always contact administration, council members, and then the council members and administration can submit, a draft ordinance to the rest of the council or me as the township attorney, and we can work towards writing up something to revise it. So if there is a resident that is interested in requesting a change, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Mr. Gumar. Do we have anyone else wishing to speak during the public portion?
Council President, the same 2 individuals have raised their hand a second time, and they've already utilized their time to speak.
Unfortunately, we only allow for 1 time for each public portion. If you have any further questions that have not been answered, please call the mayor's office tomorrow and we will work on those for you.
There are no other individuals with their hands raised.
Thank you, Mrs. Cedar. We'll now close an adjournment. Can I have an offer, please?
Offer.
Can I have a second?
Second from Kapil Shah.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, and have a very good evening. And let's hope that we don't get a lot of snow this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everyone.
Good night.
Good
All right.
evening, everyone. Thank you.